Right, so looking at this board again, same old Hitachi CPU as was in the last time. Got a different one this time. This is the MC68000 P8. This is megahertz version, which is identical to the other one I had, which has gone missing. Oh, no, it's behind me, sorry. Identical to this one essentially, but yeah, no enjoy. Quite simply put, it does the same thing the other one was doing, which is nothing. This is doing slightly less, so it seems to be really glitchy. It doesn't always give me the same results, so I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure if this is dead or if just like the ROMs are not being read or whatever. But I had a scary thought the other quite recently, and I thought, what if it's nothing to do with programs at all? What if it's actually to do with a user error, which is possible, because you'll notice on the System 16 there is no keying card slot. This doesn't use jammer, this uses its own pinout, pinout being ground, 5V, 12V, coin counters, coin lockouts, and then loads of I/O. Then you've got your speaker down here, your video, and then more ground. So this is generally the adapter you use. It's called a System 16 to jammer adapter. It's essentially the same pins, really, just different configuration. And yeah, I've usually, like I said, there's no key, so I could actually put this on backwards, and the power be here, which would actually affect the video circuitry partly, because you're feeding 5V down the RGB lines, which you're not supposed to do, because the RGB is only supposed to be about 1V really. Unlike on the RGB lines, the sync line will probably survive, so that's not a good thing. And I also realised there's 12V going into that pin there, which leads into, which pin was it? Leads into that pin, and if I'm not mistaken, that's actually the worryingly, that's actually the speaker output, the mono speaker coming from the amplifier over there. And I thought the YM chip might be bad. Maybe not. I thought the YM 3012 chip might be bad, which is the digital to analog audio converter. That's pretty much designed to go with the YM 2151, because this outputs serial data and that need parallel data. No, sorry, that outputs serial data, not analog data. This is what converts our serial data into audio in 10-bit DAC over there. Anyway, and then goes into buffering and then on to the amplifier. So what did I do? What I did is I got my headphones, my trusty old earpods, which I love. And what I did is I just got a couple of wires and I poked them onto, one onto ground and one onto, what was that, pin 8, 9, pin 8 and 10, no, pin 9 and 10, and nothing. I hear absolutely nothing, which is good, because you know how on the speaker it was coming out, like really glitchy, well not glitchy, but just buzzing. Well, what if the amplifier's dead? I mean, if someone did do this, the first thing that would be taken out is the amplifier, because this goes, this here goes, the 12V or whatever speaker output, which would be over there, goes through this board, up, down to about here, across, and then here's the main, these big two fat traces you see, those are actually the speaker lines, and it goes all the way into this audio amplifier, and then from there it goes into a couple of filtering caps, some resistors which are acting as voltage dividers. You've got a volume pot over here, a couple of buffers, and then just a chip. And I can't hear anything wrong with that chip, because really I can't hear anything. So I might think that this has gone bad, and if this has gone bad, someone's possibly put this in backwards. Which brings me on to my point. There's 5V lines. I'm not really sure. I wouldn't have thought 5V on the RGB lines would have killed the board. Maybe the video, DAC circuitry, possibly, because they're only supposed to take 1 or 2 volts analog, 1 or 2 volts, because that's what the output. So it's possible that it could have fried the DAC, which means this board, essentially, unless I know where the DAC is dead. Which is possibly actually where that GAL is, or that, not GAL, is it? PAL, or what is it? PAL, or something like that. It's possibly what that issue is, or what that thing does, which, if I could figure out that was the case, I could fix it. or fix the DAC and see if we got any video, which I don't think is going to be happening. So that's one idea, you know. That could be why we're not getting any video output, and possibly why we're not getting any sound. Well, as for the CPU not loading anything, if I can get this off, never easy to get System 16 boards off, as I said. So if we follow the traces coming from here on the RGB lines, they follow all the way over to this part of the board. There's a couple of, I think 75 ohm resistors there. They go into that, which then go into, part of it goes up to those resistors, and part of it goes into this logic, I think. Let's just double check that. Yeah, it goes sort of into these logic arrays, and then presumably, if I was to follow it, you won't be able to see much, but if we follow it, yeah, you can see all the traces, these thick traces of the RGB lines. Follow them, go into here, go into a couple of those things, go pretty much straight down into the various chips. So I'm thinking perhaps that analog devices chip there is acting as a DAC, because I don't see anything specific that's, you know, would scream DAC to me. I mean, we've got RAM here, I think, what was that, RAM there, there's some RAM there as well, RAM there, RAM there, RAM there, RAM there, I think some RAM there as well. So I mean, that could possibly act as a DAC, but I'm not sure. But again, if that was the case, it means the DAC's gone, and those you cannot replace unless you have the original, you know, the original, what's the word, file, hex, whatever, because these are programmable, which is good, which means you can replace them, but you need the original file that went onto those to set up the logic, and if you don't, well, it's not going to, you know, you can plug a new one in, but it ain't going to do anything. So, I don't know, at the minute, I think that's pretty likely. I mean, like I say, easy to get this in backwards, and there's no real indication on the board. I mean, to me there is. You've got two massive traces there, that should imply, you know, you've got a big 5-volt line, but, you know, not all people are as observant or as understanding as I am, so perhaps that's what happened. I mean, I don't know what else to do at this point, because we're not getting any sound, we're not getting any video, I can't change anything, there's nothing running on the CPU, which could be faulty, but like I say, I've got two over there which don't work, and I mean, I could get a third one, but is it really worth it? I mean, this practically looks unused. Obviously it might be used, it might not be, it might be fried, but it seems to be doing its job, it seems to be trying to work, but it just doesn't really want to turn on anything. I mean, obviously these could be fried, this is the system controller, this is, like I say, the video controller, so I don't know. Any suggestions in the comments? Thanks.